at the
Okay,
hearing
we're
at our last month's meeting. And frankly, we've heard from for probably the last 3 or 4 months
sorry.
during the public forum portion of our.
I was hoping that Neil Berlin would be available to help watch this with me. I wanted to see the sock puppets discussion around the closing of the Mac stops. So I'm going to watch it now and see exactly how they handle this, and I'll make some comments, obviously, as needed.
Of our meetings. So where I think we are is I think the board has been briefed on the equity analysis, and at the last meeting, I think the board indicated that you were understanding and approved of of its findings. So I would ask, is there any discussion?
Yeah, that whole, this is equitable. I don't understand. Yeah, it's equitable in how it hurts to disabled people. I mean, I don't understand how it passes an equity analysis at all. But we already know that whole process is a joke anyway. So
On that or this ordinance at this time before we actually go into the motion. Director Gonzalez?
Yes. I had a question. I was curious about the framing of this particular ordinance. The 1 year, what looks like a review period closure. It wasn't entirely clear what the expected benefits or what knowledge we
this guy's
expect to gain in that year's time
CM2HL, I
frame.
think.
That might help
Was it
inform what happens
CM2HL?
after that.
Yeah,
I don't know even where to
the
direct the
revolving
question.
door shit.
Well, you could start with me, but we'll call up Grant and or Bernie as well. I think part of it was also to look at, is there sometimes when you make recommendations such as this, you want to make sure you've captured things, and sometimes you may miss something. Particularly in the area of anything significant in safety. I want to make sure that is captured over a review period. And I don't believe there is, but I want to be respectful of the community of how the service is provided to. Otherwise, frankly, it probably would have come forward as just a straight closure. So we just wanted to take that extra pause. Let's evaluate it for a period of time to be sensitive, again, particularly in the area of safety.
What?
Anything else to add to that?
No, I think the general manager hit the points. The one of the things that we wanted to see, one of the concerns that was raised is about queuing at the other stations.
Bottomley's been an insider for
station
decades,
platform crowding
bouncing
and so
around
forth. So
various
this also
state
provides an
jobs, city
opportunity to
jobs.
see whether that
Now
issue
he's trying
materializes. We
all
don't think that it will.
stick
Our
figures.
analysis shows that it won't, but we wanted to give this opportunity to evaluate it.
I wouldn't add anything. Yeah, well captured.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
1 year,
Director
we'll pretend we're going to revisit it in a year.
So I think my comment is also what I said publicly at the last board meeting, which was what is our continued community engagement outreach efforts for these two particular closures, Kings Hill and the
I think,
Mall Southwest
Kathy,
4th and
you've
5th,
heard the testimony.
in respect to some of the Lincoln High School students who, did come and say that they were concerned about taking a different transit line, especially after school hours, some of the parents, neighborhood associations, folks from the disability community. So just if you can just reiterate that, doesn't have to be lengthy, but because we are voting on this today, if you can just reiterate what that outreach and that plan would look like.
Yeah, so we will do extensive outreach to the customer community at these platforms, obviously, to let them know well in advance that the platforms are going to change, to make sure that they understand what the alternative platforms are that are available to them. And then we'll be doing outreach with Mac Club, the church, Lincoln High School, and all the other sort of surrounding businesses and institutions around Kings Hill to make sure that they understand, the most appropriate route to get to the alternatives. And then in addition, we've worked with our Executive Director of Safety and Security, and we will be working with the school to identify times when the student population would appreciate some additional presence in the area to make sure that we're adding security in those times of the day that are of issue.
Yeah, I might just add
Yeah,
to
let
that.
that guy nods.
Those
Yeah.
comments that I think we also need to.
How can
there's
you watch
a,
this? How
development
can you
going
watch
on there.
this far?
There
Look,
may be
who's that woman
working
up
with
in
our
the
partners
corner
the
here?
city
She's
of Portland
like
around extra
the
lighting,
judge.
things of that nature, particularly around that construction zone as you come from the Kings Hill station around the corner to Providence Park Station. I think there's the people issues we talked about for presence, but there's also, I think, some lighting septet elements that I think that might be brought into this. And the other part is, in the closure of a Kings Hill station, even on a longer term basis, what do we want to do with that? And I think we need to engage the community. Could it turn into a garden? Could it turn into a Nike bike location, as the streetcar does literally in front of, the streetcar did when it closed the station right in front of our own location at First and Harrison? What could that platform be used for that's actually a benefit to the community that may not be a stop? So use it in a positive way.
And on the heels of that, thank you, Manager Kelsey, for that comment. Are we waiting for a year before beginning that conversation about what we can do there? Or are we initiating that conversation in the 1 year periodic closure? What is proposed for that piece of it?
Well, I think it's something we sure welcome feedback from the community on, but I think the intention here is subject to something significant I call on the safety side, whether it be queuing or other such things. The intention here is with this ordinance to close that station, but then right after that, I think we would start those conversations. And in fact, there already has been a few conversations already quietly started, if you will. Unofficially, but we've more officialized it.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because that was one of my initial concerns, I think, in the way the ordinance was proposed, is there was a proposed 1 year closure period to review, and I didn't see language speaking to the effect of, in addition to reviewing the impacts of a closure, starting to review the potential for what that piece of real estate could be in lieu of a station. And so that was one place where I thought there's a lot of benefit to not waiting after the year. What I'm hearing is that the intention is not to wait to begin that conversation a year from now, but to take the steps forward to begin that conversation in parallel to the review.
No, what Kelsey just said to you is that they were going to close the station and then decide what to do with it. Okay, pay attention, Gonzalez, or whatever your name is.
Of the impacts of a closure. So I really appreciate that. If there's ever a place where I would recommend in making sure that that's explicit, it would be, I think, in that area. That's one of the places where I had the most pause for how we take advantage of a 1 year period to really explore the possibilities, not just the what happens if we close it.
I think with this this ordinance in front of you is part of coming back in the year would actually be part of that conversation.
Yeah, Kelsey. Yeah, Kelsey's such a smooth talker, isn't he?
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion then to adopt this ordinance?
That's it. That's it.
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
That's
Second.
it. That's a
Second.
discussion.
Further discussion?
No
Seeing none.
discussion. No questions.
Go ahead.
Discussion.
Okay, Trent.
You know,
Who's this woman up in the top left there?
as-
She looks like a judge. She's
I've been
got
on
a
the
black
board
robe.
almost 8 years. It's heartening to see folks come out and individuals being involved and engaged. Greatly appreciate that and their perspectives. We saw a lot of the public comment in regards to some of these closures, and I would say what I'm saying here is kind of an overall statement across all of the things that we've experienced over the last few months in regards to this. So very heartened by the focus and everybody being engaged in this process,
such
and
a
greatly
bullshitter,
appreciate all the
isn't he?
insight that we received both publicly and then as a board. We've also received quite a bit of correspondence through email and written items that not everybody gets a chance to see, and so it's been a really balanced approach of being able to look at all of these things. And from where I sit, I think
So no wonder I don't watch
having the
this shit
opportunity to
anymore. I
evaluate
can't
a few of
stand
these
it.
opportunities.
Wait a minute. How do I play with this shit? Hold on here. I'm learning my new fucking stuff here.